Hey everyone, welcome back to During Business Hours. My name's Christopher. I'm doing a solo podcast today. Just want to talk to you about a few things that I saw online that have really caught the attention of the media. One, Johnny Depp Amber Heard, or as they say, Amber Turd. Two, apparently Elon Musk buying up Twitter. Now Twitter is in a uproar. There is massive waves of political divide, civilian, whatever you want to call it. There is party lines being drawn now in politics on Twitter, on fucking Twitter. It was already a shit show before. Now you have people bragging about how many more followers they're getting on the Republican Party because Republicans are now flocking to Twitter, hoping that Elon Musk is somehow the savior of Twitter. I find it interesting because most things that Elon Musk posts about on Twitter is actually about Starlink, and there's a couple of things that he does. 15 hours ago, he posted, buy stock in several companies that make products and services that you believe in. Only sell if you think their products and services are trending worse. Don't panic when the market does. This will serve you well in the long term. Apparently, these are questions he gets asked. Cyber Rodeo 2022, SpaceX. And then April 29th, the far left hates everyone, themselves included. I'm not a fan of the far right either. Let's have less hate and more love. The problem is, him controlling Twitter promotes a totally different aspect. He's very sarcastic on Twitter, I noticed. Next time I'm buying Coca-Cola to put the cocaine back in, oh hi. Really, magic is only a sip away. I found this to be hilarious when I was 16, looking this up on Bing back then, or it was Google and Yahoo 2006. But this is what really sparked my interest was, as you see, this is how a lot of Republicans now, or conservatives now, not really Republicans, have shifted. And it's very true because I considered myself to be more Democratic 2008, 2012. I voted Democrat. And now I find myself to be very conservative, slightly Republican. And so it states up here, me kind of off the center, me closer to the center, fellow liberals running to the left, 2012. Woke progressive is now the left. Screaming bigot. Me, I'm in the same place. The lines have shifted. And conservative is just LOL. I find this to be, my views have not changed in 10 years. The lines have changed. Paul Graham says the fact that this has happened since the 90s since the 90s, the right has moved a little further right, but the left has moved a lot further left. So this is a graph showing 94 to 2017 and how consistently liberal and consistently conservative people have moved 0 to 10. Now, as you'll see in 94, Democratic and Republicans have kind of been at a tilt, Republican being a little higher 2004. 2017, that mountain has just had a landslide to Democratic or liberal. His shit is just funny. I understand he may be on the spectrum, some people say. There's all kinds of things that people, like the shit he posts here. This is top left of your screen is Tim Cook. He's another podcaster, and he's going, here's an example of Twitter's left-wing bias. On the right, we have to take the context into consideration. Twitter's interpretation of the context is affected by their left-wing bias. I would need to see an example of that, and then here's an example of left-wing bias. So, Elon Musk posted Truth Social is currently beating Twitter and TikTok in the Apple Store. I had posted this to my, I think, Facebook. I have not been using Facebook as much as I probably should lately. I've been using Instagram more, but I haven't been making as much content as I wanted to. Now, the thing that really has been taking up a lot of my time is I have become addicted to Johnny and Amber Turd. Addicted. It is better than the Kardashians. I don't care what you listen to, what your side is, anything. I've always been in the line where a man hits a woman, he goes to jail. No ifs, ands, or buts. You throw her hard enough, you push her off of you while you get hit. We are biologically just stronger people in most aspects. So it's that mentality of like, we need to protect those that are weaker. Absolutely. And women are, to me, need to be looked after, protected, provided for, cherished, as my wife will tell you. So when this happened in 2017, the news came out. It was 2016. There was some news. But when this happened in 2017, where her op-ed came out, I found it to be disgusting. I really had, like, Edward Scissorhands was one of my favorite, or Edward Scissorhands was one of my favorite movies growing up. Like, one of my top 3. And then you had Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas as I was growing up. And from there, it compounded. There was more and more Johnny Depp movies than like the Beast of Grindelwald. Fantastic Beasts is a little too woke for me. But it goes to show that there's a different side to social media icons and people that you don't get to see every day. And I was like, okay, well, it must have been tough for her. He should go to jail. He should serve his time. Maybe he'll get some help for his addictions and all the stuff he's been public about. And he got fired from Disney. He didn't defend himself. He didn't come out and say, no, I'm not a beater. This is all horse shit. At least I don't remember to that. Maybe I didn't look into it. But the crazy part is all the shit that's coming out now. It's absurd. The amount of shit that Mrs. Turd had put him through. I've been in DV relationships. I'm a victim of DV. It is appalling and I came out, it's not like I'm so traumatized by it, but I got stabbed in a relationship. Never put hands on her, nothing. It's just some people are born with hatred, and it is what it is. The consideration for that man was very lacking, and a lot of people didn't step up. Now you're seeing in the...
Mr. Depp, I'd like to show you another audio recording that is Plaintiff's Exhibit 397. And for the record, we intend to play the portion that is 1 hour, 4 seconds to 1 hour, 2 minutes and 50 seconds.
All right, so there's no objection to 397
2
coming
minutes
into
and 50
evidence in its
seconds.
entirety? Okay, the audios are coming in. It's 397 in evidence, and then you want to play that part. That's fine.
Somebody's breathing into the mic a bit heavily. Easy.
Well, those wishes don't come true.
What thing do you want to say to me, you fucking piece of shit?
Those wishes
What?
don't
What
come
else do
true.
you want to fucking say to me, you piece of shit? What else? You don't have anything else to say to me? Cool.
I wish you the best.
Hey, why don't you fuck yourself? Go suck your own dick. You're used to it. Oh, listen. I'll write you a check for the extra sip I took. Is that okay? Stingy old fucking piece of shit.
You're the one that brought it up.
You did. You said don't drink my wine. That's mine.
I didn't say that.
Oh, you didn't?
I said I didn't think you were looking for anymore.
Rewind. Rewind.
Now, granted, both of them are on drugs and alcohol at this point, using time to time and getting into fights because of substance abuse. But not one audio clip do you hear Johnny put hands on her. Now, if somebody was in my opinion, an abuser tends to abuse, whether it's playfully or demeaningly or directly, over and over and over again. And they disregard, you could record them. They're not just going to change but it sounds like they were secretly recording from both Heard and Depp.
Probably defended me pretty good in front of your Rocky and your pop and your mom.
He just can't take it.
Hope one day you can teach your son how to be a man. Because you're so good at it. I mean, you have to. It's not everyone. You're a joke, oh man.
I've tried so fucking hard with you. I've tried so hard.
It away. Hey, if you ever learn this shit in 50 fucking something years, you're never gonna learn it. I hope to God, Jack's stepfather teaches him more about being a man than your fucking left nut.
Hey, that's good. You gave me some shit about my kids, just like in London that you desired. Never again.
Vengeful woman. Like,
Stay away.
in my opinion, very pathetic.
You don't exist. You will not be getting my words.
Mr. Depp, could you please describe to the jury what they just heard in that audio recording?
I'll sum it up. Basically, she's going through or went through some type of childhood trauma to be treated less than garbage by her mother or father and has a hatred for men, in my opinion. It sounds like they had a toxic relationship. Like I said, I was a very toxic person to the person that I was in that stabbed me. I was verbally abusive, absolutely. I was young, dumb, and going through shit I didn't even understand at the time. And still looking back on how I acted, this is a whole new level of crazy. You know, they say that crazy women are tomcat in the sack. I'd rather have a stale, dead horse of a woman than have something like this that'll shit in your bed. And for those of you who don't know, Amber Turd had left a surprise while leaving for Coachella on a weekend and shit or defecated, as they said, in Johnny Depp's bed. And then it was a horrible practical joke gone wrong. Oh no. The maid took a picture of it and there was evidence and somebody found it other than Johnny. Oh no. Oy vey. While I'm at Coachella doing mushrooms and ecstasy, I'm so oy vey. So she was found out and he started recording her more often, and now the evidence is coming out. I don't know why in the previous trial most of this evidence didn't come to light, but maybe because it's in the US now. It's broadcasted to the US. The UK trial didn't get really broadcasted. The depositions got broadcasted, but that was a whole separate thing, and it wasn't very open and in-depth like this is. There's all kinds of new evidence that's out there, new testimonies. The defense attorney Rottenbaum and their associates tried to say that the investigator or clinical psychologist investigator was being bribed or wooed by Johnny Depp, or insinuated to that by having dinner and drinks at Johnny's house after a lengthy interview process to discern if it was the right candidate. Tried putting words in people's mouths as they were being interviewed and deposed, cross-examined. I found this entire fucking thing to be media gold. Like, you can't catch me watching Ozarks. You can't catch me watching any anime, any new shows. Like, this is the OJ trial of our generation. This is it. Personally, I'm Team Johnny. Absolutely. I don't care if he was verbal. The same argument goes for Chris Rock and Will Smith. You do not get to slap someone for words. Doesn't matter how berating, doesn't matter how demeaning. Walk away. And it sounds like Johnny Depp walked away on numerous occasions, tried to leave, got mineral spirits thrown at his face, got injured, tip of his finger cut off. He had wine bottles thrown at him. He had been beaten up, punched, where she even admitted to beating him on camera and in the lawsuit, and still she's countersuing. Now, in the premise, the only thing the defense attorney has to prove, because it is a liable case, defamation, because she wrote the op-ed and because that cost him millions of dollars in business, all they have to do is prove that Johnny hit her one time. One time, that's it. That makes her story plausible enough to a jury, to a judge, to legally make those statements. Because then they can stretch what she talked about as truth in the scope of an incident. And so from there, all they're trying to do is prove one time that he laid hands on Amber Turd. I'm trying to make that a thing because goddamn if somebody shit in my bed. So I'm of the mind, similarly, like most people I believe right now, that this woman is a threat to all DC movies in the future if she is not removed from Mira. I think also fair is fair. He was removed from Pirates and Fantastic Beasts and a bunch of other Warner Brother projects. She should be removed. I guess they cut down her screen time because the movie's already filmed and wrapped, but they should do reshoots. Skin over her face. They got the technology. Look what they did with the Apes movie. They kept going back in and touching things up and, you know, mocap and whatnot. Planet of the Apes 4 or whatever. Just do that to her. Turn her into an underwater monkey. But that's me. I find this to be, like, when they make a live action of this similar to the Johnny, we'll call it in the Johnny and June Part 2 story or whatever. It is, there's got to be a movie for it, right? And so Elon Musk is now integrated with this because he dated Amber Heard shortly after. There's rumors in the lawsuit that she was cheating with either James Franco, and then it went to Elon Musk, but apparently...
Could Elon Musk be called as a witness at the Johnny Depp defamation trial? Attorneys may want to hear from the world's wealthiest man.
They say that this mark on his face could be, you know, a kiss, and then there's something about a slap.
Because he dated Amber Heard. Notice the lipstick stain on Musk's cheek. And here they are getting cozy inside Johnny Depp's private penthouse elevator in LA. Amber is wearing a swimsuit and towel. Musk says this photo was taken after she filed for divorce from Depp. It's high stakes here at New York's Twitter headquarters as Elon Musk takes over the popular social.
So everything is at the same time. So now Elon is buying Twitter. He's about to space tweet. And his ex-girlfriend is going through a $100 million lawsuit. 1550, I believe. It is a time to be alive and be in the spotlight. I'm telling you, some of these people are going through so much shit. It's like the Michael Jackson days where there was nothing that wasn't on the news about some social media star doing something stupid or being involved in something stupid. That's the last 4 months. There's not been one scandal that hasn't been out there. And I think a lot of shit's coming to light from when people were in COVID and stuff like that. But boy.
Social media company. And with that $44 billion deal, Musk's very busy personal life is under the microscope as never before. There is one woman who has stuck by Musk's side through all his life, and that's his stunning mother, Mae Musk. You may recognize the 74-year-old iconic model known for her striking gray hair. Last year, she made a surprise appearance when her son hosted SNL.
I love you very much.
I love you too, Mom.
Now, after the triumphs of PayPal, Tesla, and SpaceX, Elon Musk finds himself on the verge of...
I will add, there's not many triumphs. It's still ongoing. I saw somebody said that he only bought his way on to Tesla, but I think that's a little misleading because at the time, Tesla wasn't really a founded company yet. It was an idea, and he bought his way into the idea and then propelled that forward. So he's definitely a brilliant guy. But I think through all this shit right now, especially with the Johnny and Amber trial, he's going to get deposed. He's either going to fight the deposition, plead the fifth, whatever, or have his lawyers fight it. But he's too big to fail at this moment. Even if Tesla went under like that, he'd still have SpaceX. He'd still have Twitter. He's diversifying in all his cryptos, I bet. But this guy is a fucking genius, in my opinion. So there's Johnny Depp's agent.
Miss Heard, based on your personal friendship with Miss Heard, close personal friendship with Miss Heard, would you say that she confided in you?
Yes.
This guy just looks smug.
And what about Mr. Depp?
Yes.
Mr. Carino, at some point in time...
Now, I will say there was a testimony by Johnny Depp that after the op-ed came out, this guy had coerced him to break his restraining order and meet Miss Heard in a hotel room. And that's where the audio clip Johnny Depp had recorded of Miss Heard crying and saying, well, it was the team that wanted to put this out. It was the team. I didn't want to do this. I want it to end. Johnny had offered, let's do a joint statement. Let's end it all. Let's say we're going to take this out of the media spotlight, handle it personally, be done with it all. And that's where she was complaining her credibility was gone, that her career has ended. How does she get her career back? What's going to happen to her? Her credibility is destroyed. And he was like, well, what do you want from me? Take my blood. So he pulls out a knife. Take my blood. Take your pound of flesh. It's all I have left. I have nothing else to give. And that moment, I've never been more empathetic to a hurt man in my life, ever. I felt the crushing weight he felt. And if it's acting, just it goes to show his power in acting, because Jesus, man, I'll never forget the look on his face as he was describing that and the loss of life in his eyes when he stated he had nothing left. It was crazy. But, you know, you can always let me know if you got any experience with this type of stuff and how it's gone for you.
After Miss Heard filed those divorce papers in May of 2016, did she make any requests of you to intervene in the relationship between her and Mr. Depp?
What do you mean by intervene?
Let's start with assist in communications between the two.
Same objections.
Can you explain to me what transpired in that regard? Walk me through it.
At some point around that time, she wanted me to arrange for them to get together in person.
And what did you do after that was requested of you by Ms. Heard?
I talked to Johnny about it.
What happened after that?
He was reluctant at first and then agreed.
Because he could go to
And
jail.
then what happened after that?
You coerced him.
I mean, this is a long time ago, but I remember there was a fair amount of discussion about the TRO and how we would deal with that, because nobody wanted Johnny accused of violating the TRO as an outcome of that meeting. And I don't remember exactly what we did, but Amber at some point warranted that she would never accuse him of violating the TRO to do the meeting, and I set the meeting up.
So
just so I understand,
the restraining
you
order.
set the meeting up at the request of Ms. Heard?
Temporary restraining order for those who don't
Objection is
And as part of you setting up, she told you that it didn't matter. What I'm trying to understand, what was the issue with respect to the TRO?
My understanding of a restraining order, at least at the time, was that he couldn't go within a certain distance of her.
Okay. And what was her suggestion
Break the law.
with respect to that issue in connection with her wanting to meet with him?
She promised me and told me to relay to him that she would never accuse him of violating the restraining order as a result of agreeing to meet her. And I believe, but I don't recall exactly, there were conversations with both sides legally, I believe at the time, to make it transparent to everybody that this was happening.
Okay. And then what happened next?
Fucking disgusting.
I arranged the meeting. Johnny was in San Francisco on tour, and I arranged to borrow a friend's house, and Amber and I flew to San Francisco and drove to the house, and Johnny showed up a few hours later.
And did the two of them meet
Yes,
in the same room?
they sat outside.
Okay. How close to each other were they?
Inches away from each other.
And how long,
The thing that like states when he says inches, and everyone needs to know this, the reason he says inches is because they were touching bodily, whether it's holding hands, etc. They were probably caressing each other's cheeks. Who knows? Clap them cheeks in public. I don't give a fuck. But at this point, she's obviously feeling regret for all the shit she put out online. So it goes to show against her credibility in court, especially because she circumvented the fucking restraining order like some crazy turd burglar. It's crazy. This shit is like, I've had a TRO against me. I went through a breakup with an ex-girlfriend. She robbed my home and then hit me with a restraining order for fear of her life. And so I had to go to court and get the restraining order removed because it was a baseless claim. And so she kept hitting me with a temporary restraining order and just refiling it. Her father's big time money, etc. We ended up settling because I ended up suing her, but we ended up settling and getting all my shit and money back. But that took me months. In the meantime, when I was dealing with that breakup, met my now wife, who just everything fell into place. But I could imagine if she, after the first TRO, it was a domestic violence restraining order, DVRO. So she had made claims of threat of violence. And so if she tried to circumvent that, she would go to jail. So the problem being, at least in California, and they're saying San Francisco. So I'm assuming it's a DVRO or TRO in California. So at that point, Heard could have went to jail, or Johnny, because it's both parties. It's one against the other, but then there has to be an intermediary for any contact. So what she did was illegal. She also baited him into doing it. So then you go from there. They had this
were they out
conversation.
there talking? For how long were they out there talking?
Several hours.
Did you, although you were out there, were you in a position where you could see them through a window or otherwise?
Yes.
At some point in time, the conversation ended, correct?
Correct.
And what happened after that?
I received a call or a text from Steve, whose house it was, and he notified me that he would be coming back to the house within the next hour or so. And I told Johnny and Amber, and we decided to rent a hotel room in San Francisco so that they could continue to talk.
And did that in fact happen?
Objection.
It is.
And at some point in time, you left that house, correct, to go to San Francisco?
Yes.
And was it the three of you?
No. Johnny had security with him, and we talked about the fact that it wouldn't be a good idea for them to be seen together there. So Johnny left with his security in his car, and I believe Amber and I took an Uber.
And what happened after that?
We all met at the hotel room.
And do you know what happened after that?
They started arguing.
So from here, basically, that's where it gets into the argument where he threatens to cut flesh from his bone, the pound of flesh Amber wanted, basically. And so he pleads with her to end the bullshit. At no point does this psychotic, baseless woman pull her statements. Does she tell the media, tell social media that her Me Too movement is false? So Johnny Depp's the victim. To me, clear cut. You let me know in the comments below. You can send me a message. You can make it private. You can make it public. You tell me how the fuck you feel about it. Because in my conversating over the last couple of days, there are people who are just like, no, fuck him. Absolutely. I don't want to hear any new evidence. I've hated that man since the moment I heard about it. I've burned his DVDs. I've burned his clothing. I hate Pirates of the Caribbean. And these are some people who were like working for Disney and loved shit. But I did not disown his work, when I disliked him. It was more disliking the fact that he laid hands on a woman. I understand the shit he's going through, because personally I've been on the receiving side of false claims before and having to deal with that and the trauma and the stigma. I'm not a social media icon one day, but that weighs on you worse than you could imagine. If you are not in a position where you've had latent false claims placed upon you, you haven't had to go to court and justify a situation that never happened, like you're speaking about a dream, something that's just made up, completely fictitious. It is demeaning. It's you're pleading with somebody to take your side on something that you can't explain was fake without concrete proof. Luckily, in my instance, I had concrete proof. Dates, times, it didn't match up, witness statements, things like that. Text message chains that for some reason I had told the person I had deleted, but I didn't delete. I had a backup. And so some women can be vindictive beyond measure. What do they say? Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. It's emotional damage. It's what TikTok guy says.
Emotional damage.
And that's where I'll leave it. Justice for Johnny. Pull Mira out of the movies. And from there, you let me know how you feel. If you got a different side, you want to convince me otherwise, I'll be here. I'm always here. All right, everybody. Sorry for the delayed uploads. It's been kind of crazy. Business has been booming for some reason. Everyone says it's slow. For us, it's balls to the wall right now. I don't know if it's the economic impact or, Twitter being bought by a megalomaniac billionaire, but the world is changing. Power is shifting, and we're enjoying it. We're sitting here for the ride. All right, everyone. Click the subscribe button.